Welcome to episode 3 of the Big Eyes podcast. I am your host LJ, aka Monkey D LJ. Man, happy Thanksgiving to everyone that's listening right now. Hopefully yesterday you had a good time around family, friends. You ate your ashy-handed uncle's turkey. And that you remembered that the pilgrims are swaggerless. So, welcome back though to the Big Eyes podcast. And today we have a special episode for you. So I will be talking about the newest chapters in the Promised Neverland and the Demon Slayer, but also I'm going to be taking a special look back at one of my favorite episodes of Mob Psycho 100. And with that special episode today, that means I will not be doing an origin story. So let's get right into it. So Demon Slayer really wild out this week, and I'm still trying to figure out what is their problem, because man, they went off the deep end this week. So man, last time we checked in with the Harishas, the last time we saw the battle, they had finally found a way to get Muzan outside of his lair. So they crash landed it, and it just so happened though that they crash landed away from their plant spot, and they're right in the middle of the city. So the location was an idea, but they were able to get him outside, because you got to remember that the sun is the only way that he can die. You can't kill him by cutting his head off. So they get him outside, but immediately they figure out that they still have to fight him for a whole hour and a half until the sun comes out. So the Harishas do what they can to attempt to hold him off. But once again, you see the complete difference in power, because there's a moment where he gets a clean cut to the neck, but while they're cutting through, he is healing simultaneously. And they're all in shock, because they're just like, what are we supposed to do with this? What are we supposed to do with someone this powerful? And the remaining and the surviving lower class Demon Corps members, you see them all run towards Muzan and start to create a human shield to protect the Harishas, and really kind of stall and try to drag this battle on longer. And they are all getting wiped out, but they're like, no, create this shield. And I'm gonna keep it real, man. Nah, that would not been me. That would not have been me. I can't do that. Listen, we pay enough in Harisha taxes out of our check each month. Why am I the one that has to put my man? Look, I would have did the LeBron meme where he's dapping everybody up and he's about to go. I'm like, man, listen, I'll catch y'all back at headquarters, because there's no way that I am going to put my life on the line against this guy that I know I see you guys are struggling with. So you want me to, man? No, it wouldn't have happened. So you see them though running up, and they're trying to create this shield, they're trying to drag this battle on, and you see Tanjiro running behind one of them, saying pretty much if I can get behind one of them, I could probably sneak up and get another good clean hit. And while running, he stops and he just drops. And all of them look, and you see him aching in his pain. And Muzan reveals that in his attacks, that he mixes his blood in the attacks, and his blood is not only powerful enough to change people into demons, but he can also manipulate it to where it is a poison. And we see the gruesome, very gruesome death of Tanjiro, and it definitely, you really don't see the main character get killed off, especially as gruesome as he got killed off. But that was a very big plot twist. I was just saying okay, they're really showing us how negative they're trying to get in this. And it was just wild to see. He dies, he looks like his brains are popping out of his head. It was really wild. But man, they ended it off on that note. And there's a lot of questions that arise first of all, like, where are the wind and stone pillars right now in the middle of this battle? They have yet to make their appearance. What does his death really mean? Because also Nezuko has yet to appear, and I'm pretty sure that next chapter we will see her come. And they keep Nezuko out the battle because she has gained the ability as a demon still to survive in the sun. And so, their purpose of keeping her away is so Muzan is not able to, capture her and being able to possess that power too. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next chapter, and see how does this grow? How do they build on from that? You kill off this character, you still have other characters who have yet to appear. So like, what does this all mean? In the bigger picture. But man, for them to just kill Tanjiro off, they went there with that, and that was just really surprising to see, because you really don't see that much. So man, but listen, great chapter. That plot twist was great. I was not expecting that. So great chapter of Demon Slayer this week. Next up is Promised Neverland. They really, for one manga that really got a death correct, this one dropped the ball on one. So the Promised Neverland, so last time we checked in, they were battling the queen, and she, in the battle of the queen, they had destroyed her first core. They figured out that she had a second core, and they are fighting her. And we end with Mijika's asking her pretty much like, why do you want to eat so much? Why are you so thirsty for humans and all these things? And when she asked that question, the next chapter, we see the death of the queen, and her death comes pretty much from overeating. And the reasoning behind it is that her second core was not powerful enough to handle all the humans and things that they have eaten. And they go back to explain about how the demons, they take on whatever life form they eat. So if they eat wild beasts, their body and everything conforms to wild beasts. Hence why they loved humans so much, because humans are intelligent creatures. Humans are able to think and all these things. So the queen dies of overeating, and I think the death for me wasn't as it didn't hit me as well, because throughout this story we see Emma, we see Norman, we see Ray, we see them overcome all these ridiculous odds against demons. They kill all these demons that are way more powerful than them, way more skilled, all these things. And to see them kind of give the queen a death where it's like, oh, it just so happens that your second core can't hold up, like or something like to see it kind of go out like that after we've seen these kids go through everything they have gone through, and to kind of get an easy way out type of death was a little frustrating. I think it was just, I don't know, it seemed lazy to me just a bit. But so the newest chapter, they go into what the demon structure looks like after her death, and what that life will look like. And as we figure out, so Sonju, which was the exiled brother of the queen, they you see a lot of internal conflict with him, because although he is helping the humans out right now and has helped them out before, it doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't want to still eat humans and still want to hunt humans. He just wanted to do it in a proper way. But to see like he's helping them out, and he's pretty much like, man, I'm about to create this world where I'm not able to do that anymore. And you see that kind of internal conflict, and you see Emma run up and give him a hug and still tell him thank you without them knowing still that that was his plan all along, to still hunt and still eat them. So that was I think that was a big focal point of the chapter of you see this conflict of like, what is like the demon world gonna look like after, like, now the the chair is open for a new king or a new queen, and what is that going to look like? And at the end, though, you see that the battle isn't completely finished, that they have to finish defeating the Imperial Army and the Rotary Clan, and what that's going to look like after. So they are able to implement the new promise that Emma made. That I wonder what this battle next is gonna look like. Once again, the Queen Death was a little lackluster to me. It didn't hit as well as I thought it was, or it really didn't go in a way where I felt was true to like the story, in the sense of like just all these things that happened in the story. For her to go out just like that was just, it didn't hit as well for me. So we'll see what happens next and how this battle prolongs. Once again, they're still fighting, and they have to defeat pretty much the human side of the promise that created all this. And so I'm excited. I'm still wanting to see what happens next, and how that battle happens and progresses. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. So now it's time to look back at one of my favorite episodes of Mob Psycho 100, episode 5 of season 1. And, part of the reason why I am, actually just a big reason why I'm looking back at this episode is because last week I lost a cousin of mine, and he was a big reason why I got into manga, why I got into anime so heavy. I used to steal his mangas all the time. And before last time we talked, he was telling me about how much he loved Mob Psycho, and so I really wanted to go back and in a sense of honoring him, because I really, man, like, without him, there would be no Big Eyes podcast, because, I wouldn't have been introduced into it or so heavy influenced by it. So, man, Kyle, I miss you, man. And, yeah, so this one's for you. So we're going to look back at episode 5 of Mob Psycho 100. And this is my favorite episode because, well, first of all, if anyone's not seen Mob Psycho 100, you should definitely watch it. It's 2 seasons, and it really revolves around a young psychic named Mob, who is learning how to use his psychic powers against demons, but also, like, he's learning about life and learning about, like, what's more than just him having psychic or him being a powerful psychic, and, in the adventures of him. And it's a very enjoyable anime. The animation in it, that's really what like drew me into it, because the animation in this is insane, like top notch. Hence why I really love episode 5. But so episode 5, when we go into it, this is the first time we see Mob actually be confronted by another human psychic. So to set the scene, Mob was caught up in the middle of a middle school gang war, pretty much, and he was captured. So he used as bait so that the Body Improvement Club, which is a workout club at his school, would come to the aid of the school's gang and fight the others, fight the Black Vinegar middle school's gang. And within that fight, we figure out that there is a young Esper named Teru, and Teru is the leader of the Black Vinegar Middle School gang, and he wipes out the Body Improvement Club. And Mob is like, yo, like, he's like, you have psychic powers like me. And Teru is like, whoa, like, I thought I was really the only one. And really, this becomes a battle of pride for Teru, because Mob doesn't believe in using his powers against another human. And like, so as Teru attacks, Mob is completely on the defensive the whole time of just protecting himself. And with that, he that kind of ticks Teru off, because he's like, you have psychic power, like, why are you not using them? Like, you can be the most powerful person here, you can pretty much rule and do whatever you want because you're much more stronger than regular humans. But Mob doesn't have that mentality at all. And so this really becomes a battle of pride for Teru, because he's like, he thinks that Mob is looking down on him, in the sense of, he thinks he's so strong that he won't even attack me, or he won't show me his true power. So his whole goal now is to anger Mob to the point of he is going to attack. And so Mob has a demon named Dimple, who is kind of following him around, and really what he wants to do is take over Mob and use his powers. But Dimple is really one of the comedic reliefs in this story. But Dimple tries to attempt to stop the fight and attempt to just stop Teru. So he goes into this form thinking that he is going to do anything, but Teru completely wipes him out, very nonchalantly, like very, without second thought. And Mob is kind of thrown off by this, because he's like, man, like, wow, he kind of killed this dude, like, this little demon that's been following me around, and I kind of been thinking he's a bad guy, but in reality, he's actually kind of good, and he's actually kind of helpful for me in these weird ways. But even with that, like, you still don't see Mob at all get really get agitated or anything. He's just like, oh, well, okay. He's a very nonchalant, character throughout this. So Teru is continuing to attack Mob. They go into he blows him through into the school. They're in the home ec room, and he throws these knives at Mob, and Mob puts up a barrier just to block him. And one of the knives actually bounces off his barrier and shaves off the top of Teru's head, and he ends up looking like Jason Alexander. He has the bald head with his hair still on the sides, and that takes Teru off. And he sees that as that takes Teru to a different level of anger. So he goes and he starts strangling Mob, and Mob is like, in a sense, he's telling Teru, like, I know what it feels like to be you, in a sense of, you find all your strength and find all your identity in having these powers, but like, there's something more, and like, that's what I want. Like, I want to find something more of, there is to me than just having psychic powers. There's something better to me than just being able to do these things. And Teru, who is completely angered now, starts strangling Mob, and he's like belittling him, and he's strangling him, and he strangles him unconscious. And when Mob falls unconscious, but while he's going unconscious, they go to this flashback of the last time he used his powers on a human when he was younger, and it was to protect him and his brother Ritsu from some high schoolers. And they show the scene, and he blacks out, when using his powers, and he completely dismantles these high schoolers. But in that, he also ended up hurting his brother, and I think that played a big part on why he doesn't want to use his powers against humans. No, and so as he gets strangled unconscious, he goes unconscious, but that awakens his abilities inside, and just he pretty much acted off on his own power. And they even show the percentage of power he's using, and they just use question marks because he's pretty much using his highest ability. And he is, he blows Teru away. He blows the school away, and Teru, gets lifted into the atmosphere, and he's pretty much just like, wow, like, I lost. This guy is strong, and this guy is, he's levels beyond me, and levels of where, I could be at. And Mob just kind of has this realization of, he's internally conflicted because he doesn't want these powers to define him, but he's understanding though, like, these powers are a part of him though, and trying to find that balance of, you want to, there's something more to him, but he has to learn to accept that these things that already define him, such as having psychic powers. And in that realization of just like the conflicted part inside of him, he kind of comes to his senses and uses his powers to put the whole school back together. And he, you could see the sadness in his eyes, and like, how sad he was. And the episode ends with him coming home, and him, him seeing his brother Ritsu, and he apologizes to him. It's more so of just like what happened when he protected him, because he ended up hurting his brother, and his brother's like, it's okay, like, you try to protect me. And his brother goes into his room, and it takes this kind of sinister type of turn at the end, where his brother is watching the TV in his room, and he is seeing, how, they're talking about what happened to the school in the news, of like, it being, showing footage of the school being destroyed and lifted into the air. And his brother just has this sinister look on his face. So they leave you on this weird cliffhanger of like, what is his brother really up to? So, yeah, man, that episode is probably my favorite, because I think that's the episode where, first of all, the scene of Mob unlocking his powers, like, that animation was just so insane. Like, man, it was top notch. And once again, like, if you're a person who truly enjoys like the animation of anime, like, and the things that go into it, and how, man, that Mob Psycho 100 is the one for you. And I also like it, just like how, it touched on some heavy things in this episode that has humor underlying it, but like they're still touching on these things that are kind of heavy in topic of, finding yourself, and the things that define you, and how you view your own self, and where that pride comes from. So it was, this is the episode that really got me hooked onto it. In the episode that I was like, okay, this right here is pretty dope. So that episode, this anime is very special to me. It was one of my cousin's favorites, and I'm just happy that I'm able to continue to do this in a sense of honoring and remembering him. And because anime, man, it's so worldwide now, and it's such a popular thing. It's something that could connect so many different people from so many different backgrounds just off of this. So this will conclude the special episode of the the Big Eyes Podcast. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, one last special announcement. My guys at the Lookout, they have released their second capsule of their collection, all their merch. So please go to RNC Big Cartel, and man, like the merch is there, bro. They're here. So shout out to my guys at the Lookout. Shout out to Mill. Shout out to Jeff. I'm so proud of you guys. Follow us at RNC Radio Live on Twitter, and on Instagram, because that's where you'll find the links to get to the merch. But I'm so proud. They're so dope. I'm modeling them. So if you want to know what I look like, I'm modeling them. And man, I'm so proud of you guys. So once again, follow us at RNC Radio Live. All new updates, new podcast. Shout out to Nelson. Man, so much dope content. So go get you a shirt. Go listen to this episode and all the other new episodes that are dropping on all the other podcasts on RNC Radio. If you want to follow me, Twitter at Jamal SLM, and on Instagram at Straw Hat LJ. Once again, thank you guys for tuning into this special episode of the Big Eyes Podcast. Stay plus ultra. I'll catch you.